Raphinha to Liverpool. It's the question that's on most Liverpool fans' lips at the moment. Will the 25-year-old Brazilian make the move to Merseyside and please probably 95% of the fan base? Join me as I delve deeper into his stats and see just how well he will fit into this Liverpool side. At only 25 years of age, Raphinha has been the standout performer in the struggling Leeds side this season. They're currently sitting 16th in the Premier League after 18 games, and Marco Bielsa's side looks to have really struggled in the Premier League this year. Only having 18 goals all season, Raphinha has actually returned 8 of these for Leeds and got 1 assist in 18 Premier League starts. That's racking up almost 45% of Leeds' goals in the Premier League this season. He's absolutely mustard. He plays mainly on the right wing, but he can also cover on the left wing, which is what Jurgen Klopp looks for in a player. Someone who's versatile and can play across the front three. And let's be serious, he's not going to come in and replace Mohamed Salah on the right-hand side. He suits the Liverpool transfer model as well. He is only 25 years of age, and FSG do look to bring in the younger player, so if they did want to sell them, they can add a resale value on in the future. First of all, we'll look at his heat map. He is everywhere on that right-hand side, which is something that Liverpool like in a player. We like players who will press from the back and advance further up the field with the ball. This is what Raphinha does at Leeds. His heat map is just all on the right-hand side, but it's not just in the attacking areas. He can defend as well, and we have seen little bits of heat on the left-hand side as well when he has been asked to cover that side for Leeds this season. Let's have a look at Raphinha's stats. Like I said, 25, exciting. How does his stats compare to other players in his position in world football? You can see them on the screen about here somewhere now. And as you can see, they're all green. The only red one is yellow cards, which shows he's only in the 41st percentile for yellow cards per 90, which again fits into the Liverpool system with a team who is always topping or near the top of the fair play leagues across the Premier League every single season since Jurgen's came in. When you're looking 82nd percentile for goals, 72nd percentile for assists, 62nd percentile for non-penalty goals, his XG is the 71st percentile. It's just unbelievable numbers. And like I said, if you're going to add 10% on, because one thing I do think Jurgen Klopp does, he adds 10% onto a lot of players who come in. So if you're adding 10% onto his 82nd percentile of per 90 of goals, you're talking he's going to be in the 91st percentile. His assists, you're going to be talking in the 83rd percentile. His non-penalty goals, you're going to be talking like the 70th percentile. And this is comparing to other players in his position. So these stats are going up against people like Mohamed Salah, for example. It's any other player in that position is compared to Raphinha about where he ranks, and he's ranking green. And he's in a Leeds side, like I said, who are currently 16th in the Premier League. They've only scored 18 goals all season. They're on a really bad run of form. They've only bagged 16 points all season. And this fella's literally ranking 70 plus percentiles for all of his standard stats. And this is my only downside to Raphinha. His passing percentiles are really poor. So Raphinha attempts 64.5% of passes per 90 in the league side, and only ranks in the 5th percentile against other players in his position. Now, you could argue that he's playing in a really struggling Leeds side. Like I said, the 16th in the Premier League. They've only got 16 points this year. He has scored 45% of their goals in the Premier League this year. But his passing stats, I do strongly believe, could be improved if you're coming into a better side, really. You're looking at his passes completed, he's only in the 32nd percentile. His passes attempted, he's only in the 56th percentile. His total passing distance, the 49th percentile. But it makes you wonder, is this player thinking, the rest of this team around me is terrible, I need to do it all on my own, I'm not going to pass to them. I've scored 45% of their goals, I might as well just do it on my own. His progressive passing distance, he's actually in the 88th percentile. So that to me shows he can improve on his passing. And like I said, you put him ahead of a midfield of like Thiago, Fabinho, Keita, Henderson. He's going to make more passes that are more successful because our team are a lot more compact when we are pressing. We press together rather than individually. So I do think that we shouldn't really worry about a 5 percentile pass completion. The only worry for me is that he attempts 64.5% of the passes and only 5% are coming off. But then, like I said, that could just be around the players around him. Because if he's made the pass and they aren't controlling it properly and then they're losing the ball, that goes against Raphinha's pass completion, Whereas at Liverpool, the calibre of play is better. His pass completion would more than definitely go up should he make the move to Anfield. He's in the 72nd percentile for assists, and his key passes, 84th percentile. And another stat that I really like seeing is 88th percentile for progressive passes and the 78th percentile for passes since the final third, which is showing that the majority of the passes that Raphinha does do are passes that are making a difference and going into them attacking areas which are going to ultimately scoring goals. His dead ball passes, he's in the 90th percentile. His passes from free kicks, the 88th percentile. 80th percentile for crosses, 92nd percentile for corner kicks, 98th percentile for in-swing and corner kicks, which is something that made my eyes light up. I love Trent. Best passer of the football. Gary Neville described him as Kevin De Bruyne at right back. It's accurate. It's like having Kevin De Bruyne, Steven Gerrard and Beckham said. I think he said in one. It's accurate. Trent Alexander-Arnold is unbelievable, but he can't beat the first man at a corner. Neither can Andy Robertson. It's my biggest gripe with this Liverpool side is that we cannot beat the first man at corners. The only decent corner taker really is Costas, but obviously he's not the starting left back. It's Andy Robbo, and rightfully so. But we do need someone who can beat the first man at corners. And I do think if you had someone who could take corners and beat the first man, Trent, I think, would be very effective on the edge of the box because he can ping one. So if he's at the edge of the box and it drops down, pings one, you never know what can happen. So the fact that Raphinha is ranking in the 80 plus percentile for out swinging, the 98th percentile for in swinging, and he's just ranking in the 90th percentile pretty much for all of his corner taking ability, that's something Liverpool need. The numbers that you want to see really, really good are really, really good. The numbers that you're not too bothered if they're not that good aren't that good. So it's what you want in this Liverpool side, really. Defence stats. Now, this is one that I always look at when looking at who Liverpool are going to bring in is pressures. Diogo Jota was brought in purely for how good he was at pressing a football, and it's been well documented by Pep and Linda's Jurgen Klopp. He's described as a pressing monster. I said this on when we done the Luis Diaz video. That was the main reason Diogo Jota got brought in, because he could press unbelievably good. Very similar to Bobby Firmino. Raphinha only ranks in the 43rd percentile for players in his position for pressures. He attempts 15.31 pressures per 90, and his successful pressures are in the 24th percentile, meaning there's only 3.59 pressures that are successful out of the 15.31 that he attempts, which means on average 12 of his presses aren't successful. However, Leeds are really struggling this season. They're getting turned over by teams, like absolutely dominated by teams. So he's not going to have a high pressuring stat when Leeds are leaking goals. They can't get hold of the ball. Like I said, Raphinha scored 45% of their goals this year and he scored 8 goals. They've only got 16 points, so they're getting turned over by teams. So you're not expecting to see Raphinha's pressures to be that high. His successful pressures are 23.4% of what he attempts, ranking him in the 11th percentile. Again, though, Leeds aren't doing too well this year. I think if you were to look at his stats last year, these would be a lot higher when Leeds were actually doing really well against the stronger and the lesser teams in the Premier League. But his other defensive statistics are very good, really. His passes blocked, 84th percentile. His interceptions, 87th percentile. His clearances, the 93rd percentile. But these are all stats that are so good because Leeds are being so bad. So he's basically having to be a defender rather than an attacker. He's not getting the full... Leeds aren't getting the full Raphinha that he's capable of because they're so poor this year. If he's playing in a side like your Liverpools or your Manchester Cities, he's going to have better pressure numbers than he is defender numbers because he's going to be attacking more and solely used as an attacker. So all his greens there on his defensive you'd expect because he's playing in, like I said, a poor Leeds side. He's only been dribbled past. He only ranks in the 27th percentile for times he gets dribbled past, which is a good number to be having. His tackles, 76th percentile, like I said. His dribblers that he's tackled, he ranks in the 78th percentile, and his dribbles that he's contested, he ranks in the 79th percentile as well. And he's only in the 59th percentile for errors, which is a good number to have again, because you don't want him to be making several errors within the game. Goal and shot creation is another, again, fantastic amount of greens because he's a fantastic player. We're talking he's in the 79th percentile for shot creating actions. His passes that are live, 39th percentile. His dead ball passes, the 92nd percentile. His successful dribbles, the 79th percentile. Like, it's just... all Raphinha's attacking stats are world class, and that's what you want to see from him. He's coming in to be that difference should Liverpool buy him. His touches in the defensive penalty area is in the 95th percentile, which again shows how Leeds are playing this year. Majority of his touches are in his own box. Now, his touches in the attacking penalty area, he's in the 62nd percentile, but I wouldn't worry too much about that number being lower than his defensive penalty area purely because of the Leeds side that he's playing in this year. He does rank in the 75th percentile for touches per 90, which he out on average touches the ball 56.67 times per 90 minutes, which again, phenomenal stat. Brazilians love a nutmeg. This stat doesn't surprise me. 93rd percentile for nutmegs, on average 0.36 per game. So we're probably going to see a Raphinha nutmeg once every 2 games in statistical terms. And his players dribble past 88th percentile, which just goes to show he just runs past players and makes them look stupid. Again, 2.73 per 90 times he will dribble past the player, which again, them 2 chances, well, basically more or less 3 chances, could then result in a goal for Liverpool. He's in the 92nd percentile for dribbles attempted and the 86th percentile for dribbles completed, which just goes to show just how good Raphinha is on the ball when moving forward. And like I said, this is coming from a very poor Leeds side. His aerial duels as well, considering that Raphinha is only 5'9", so he's not the tallest of footballers. He does win 63% of his aerial duels and loses 57. He's in the 57th percentile for aerial duels lost. A percentage of aerial duels won, when you compare the both, is 69%, and on average it's 39.1% of aerial duels won per game. You wouldn't expect that to be much higher, given the fact that he is only 5'9". He's a winger. He hasn't really got to be dueling in the air that much. Ball recoveries, though, 6.62 per game. He's in the 62nd percentile for that, which, again, another stat that I do like. And his penalty kicks won, he's in the 27th percentile. That'll probably stay that low because Liverpool never get penalties. So I think he would be the perfect addition to this Liverpool side. Like, we've just went through his stats. The ones you want to see green are in like the 90th and 80th percentiles. The ones that you aren't really too bothered about aren't the best, but like I said, you're not really that bothered about them. His heat map is attacking from the back, which is what you want to see. He's, like I said, produced 45% of Leeds' goals in the Premier League this season, which is numbers that are ridiculous for a side that's really struggling and probably will go down this year. The likelihood that I think this will happen, I'm gonna go about 70%. I know Bayern Munich are meant to be rumoured with him, but I don't know if that's just agent talk to try and get other teams to bid for him. You do see that quite a lot. If he does go to Bayern Munich, I will be heartbroken. This is one player that I have wanted to see come to Liverpool since he came into the Premier League. He's exciting and he stands out massively within that Leeds side. His average rating, he's getting 7s and 8s in every performance this season, and this is in a Leeds side, like I said, that's really, really struggling. He plays on average 84 minutes per game for Leeds as well, so it's someone who plays the full 90 minutes week in, week out. He's fit, he's available, and that's one of the things Liverpool need most, is players who are available. The ideal situation would be that Liverpool bring him in January, because we're struggling with Mo Salah and Sadio Mane going to the AFCON and Keita as well. But the realistic situation, I can't see Leeds letting their star man go when they're struggling this much in January. He is the difference that could keep them in the Premier League this season. So why would they let him go? But I do also think that if you was to get him at the end of the year, you maybe get him cheaper if Leeds go down. I think if you went and bought Raphinha in January, he's costing you 70, 80 million pounds pretty easily. He is fantastic and he's a standout player in the Premier League. If you go and get him in the summer and Leeds have went down to the Championship, you can maybe snip him for 40, 50 million, and he's definitely worth it. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Is Raphinha to Liverpool realistic? Yeah, I've been Matty for LFC Transfer Room, and nice one for watching.